resultant vectors in 2 dimensions. We continue with the forces on our ship, which is acted on by 2 forces. Let us have another force vector, F3, acting in the positive x direction. This could be the force of the wind, acting on the ship in this direction. And the wind may also blow in the positive y direction, indicated by the force F4. The force vector F3 has a magnitude 100 Newton, and the force vector F4 has a magnitude 50 Newton. We now have 4 force vectors acting on the ship. We can use the principle of addition of vectors that we learnt in grade 10. Vectors that are parallel can be made to fall on a single line. These are called collinear vectors. Here, F1 and F3 are parallel vectors along the x-axis, while F2 and F4 are another set of parallel vectors along the y-axis. We line up parallel vectors as shown using the tail-to-head method. Very simply, the tail of the second vector is placed on the head of the first vector. If we had a third vector, the tail of the third vector is placed on the head of the second vector, and so on. The resultant vector of F1 and F3 is obtained by sketching a line from the tail of the first vector to the head of the last vector, in this case, the second vector. We see that the resultant vector along the x-axis, Rx, is of magnitude 500 Newton and is directed to the right. This result is shown in green and is called the net parallel component. Let us consider the vectors along the y-axis and add these collinear vectors. Notice here that the tail of F4 is placed on the head of F2, but it is pointed in the opposite direction. We again sketch the resultant from the tail of the first vector to the head of the last vector. The resultant vector along the y-axis, Ry, is of magnitude 150 Newton and is directed downwards. The resultant is shown in red and is called the net perpendicular component. We have found that the resultant vector along the x-axis, Rx, also called the net parallel component, has a magnitude of 500 Newton and is in the positive x direction. We have also found that the resultant vector along the y-axis, Ry, also called the net perpendicular component, has a magnitude of 150 Newton and is in the negative y direction.
Starting to feel it? Now go master it with maskitv.